Hello, Alamal. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mona Cottage Books. I'm Selby, and today we're going to be talking about wordless picture books. Now, you might be asking, what is a wordless picture book? Well, a wordless picture book is a picture book without any words. Pretty simple. The next question might be, why would I want a picture book without words? Well, I'll tell you. But it's going to be a little bit longer than just because they're awesome. Well, I mean, it is because they're awesome. But to talk about that, let's look at a regular picture book for just a second. So most picture books, if I can open this one, have text and an accompanying picture. Now, most of the time, they can't or they just don't get everything that is happening in the text into the picture. The text is usually very detailed, has a lot going on in it, and the picture can only be a snippet of the text. It can't have every single detail in there. And that's okay. That's totally fine. In a regular picture book, the pictures are there to enhance the reading experience, to make it more engaging for young readers. But they usually aren't trying to put every single detail of the story into the picture. Whereas wordless picture books, that's exactly what they're trying to do. Every detail that you need to know to understand what's going on in this story is in this picture. You don't need to be able to read. If this was a book and its title was in Japanese, I can still open it and read the book. I can still understand what is happening because of the immense amount of detail that are in the pictures. And so that makes it a little bit more, a little unique and kind of a fun, almost challenge for your kids. So I'm going to talk about how to use a wordless picture book with a young reader to get the most out of it. So I would recommend wordless picture books for kids anywhere from like a year. That's usually when they are maybe a little bit more engaged in books. So from a year even to, I let my 6-year-old read this the other day and she thought it was amazing. So 6, 7, even 8-year-olds might enjoy something like this. So what I would do and what I have done with a wordless picture book. Now, okay, by the way, I forgot to say, this is Journey by Aaron Becker. He is the author illustrator. And by author, I mean, he wrote the story. He didn't write the words, but he created a story that is being told with just the pictures. And so if your child is struggling to read or they're not old enough to read yet, this is a fun way for them to tell you a story. Normally it's mom and dad, they take out the book and they read the story, and that's fine. But the wordless picture books give children the empowerment to tell a story without being able to read. And I think that is really useful, but you can also say that these books will help kids kind of like recognize details and think more critically because they're not being told exactly what's going on. They have to think it up themselves. So there's a lot of great benefits, I think, from a wordless picture book. So let's just give you some examples of how you would use it. I would go to the first page. So the first page in this book is actually kind of part of the story a little bit. We're introduced to the main character. And so what I did with my daughter is I said, okay, what's going on here? And she just told me, she's like, oh, there's a little girl on a scooter and she's on a street and blah, blah, blah. She just talks about it a little bit. I'm like, okay, great. Then you go on to the next page. Okay, well, what do you see here? And of course, then she starts telling you about, oh, well, they're in a city and the little girl is sad. And at this point, you can either just let the child talk. If they've got lots to say, you want to just hear what they want to tell you about, just let them talk. Or if they're not warming up to it yet, you can ask questions. You can be like, well, how does the girl feel? And what do you think the mom's doing? And, you know, kind of lead them a little bit, or you can just let them do it all. And then, of course, you know, you just keep going through the book like that and try to get out of the normal, like, oh, what's this and what's that and what's this. Be like, how does this person feel? What's going on? What could make them decide to do what they did? Things like that. You could have a conversation about what it would be like to walk through a forest. You know, each page, you don't have to just be like, oh yeah, trees and lights and a stream. Great, move on. You can really get into like, what do you think it sounds like in this forest? What do you think it would look like at night? You know, think about really trying to engage your child in what it would be like to be this person who walked in to this scene. And that's something that, I mean, you can try and do that with regular picture books, especially if they're heavily illustrated ones. But I find that the wordless picture books, they put so much detail into the world, into the pictures, that you can have much richer conversations than with a normal picture book. And so then, yeah, I would just go through that and just really see where your kid goes. See if they pick up on the same things that you pick up on. If you think that the main character is sad or upset, but your child thinks that they're happy, you can have a conversation about that. Be like, well, why do you think that? You know, tell me a bit more about why you think that she's scared in this hot air balloon. Her hands are up, you know, maybe they think, oh, she's screaming or something. And you think, oh, she is having fun. So this, I think, wordless picture books are great conversation starters. They're really great for learning more about what your kid is perceiving from the pictures and perceiving from the greater world. Yeah, so if you've never picked up a wordless picture book before, I definitely encourage you to try it. Go to your local library, go to your local bookstore and say, hey, I just want to grab a wordless picture book and see how it goes. And you might have some really fun, interesting conversations. You might really see your kid encourage their creativity, basically, and come up with some interesting things. Yeah, so check that out. And maybe I'll try to link or give a list of some more wordless picture books that I enjoy in the description. Yeah, that's the word for those things. And if you like this kind of bookish content, like and subscribe, and check out some of my other videos about picture books and other books in general. And thanks for watching.